Across history, entire farming cultures rose or fell depending on whether they understood one deceptively simple concept. Fertility isn't created by adding more material to the soil, but by feeding the biology that transforms that material. From the terraced farms of the Inca to the black fertile earth of the Amazon's Terra Preta, successful growers didn't dump compost the way most modern gardeners do. They used a method, a system, that took raw organic waste and turned it into a living force capable of rebuilding dead soil. Today, most people treat compost as dirt, not as fuel. They bury it, overload their soil with half-rotted scraps, or let piles sit for months without ever activating them. So, if your compost feels slow, lifeless, or inconsistent, you're not alone. And the good news is that there's a real method, historic, proven, and shockingly fast, that fixes it. Let's dig into what compost was always meant to be and how you can use it the way the old masters did. The first truth is that compost was never meant to be used raw. If you look at agricultural records from early Chinese dynasties or the manure management writings of medieval Europe, you see the same pattern repeated constantly. Organic waste only becomes beneficial when it is broken down into stable humus. The problem today is that most gardeners use compost far too soon. Even if it looks dark, if it's still warm, still smells earthy sweet, or still contains recognizable bits of plant matter, it's not finished. At this stage, it competes with plants, stealing nitrogen as microbes continue eating. That is why seedlings turn yellow or stall after being planted into compost-rich beds. A farmer restoring exhausted soil can test this easily. Take a handful of your compost, press it tight, and if it crumbles softly without leaving sticky residue, it's close. If it forms a wet clump that holds like clay, it needs more time. True compost should feel like the forest floor after a long winter, crumbly, cool, and full of subtle texture. The second truth is that compost works best as a layer, not a mix. One of the biggest mistakes people make is tilling compost deep into their soil. That buries the microbial life, deprives it of oxygen, and slows its activity dramatically. Historically, the top layer of soil always held the richest fertility, because that's where decomposition naturally occurs. Farmers from pre-colonial West Africa to 19th century Europe layered manure and crop residue on top of their fields, letting rainwork, worms, and fungal networks draw it downward slowly. When applied correctly, compost acts almost like a controlled carbon release, feeding the soil from above rather than suffocating it below. For example, if you're prepping a vegetable bed, spread 1 to 2 inches of finished compost across the surface. Don't mix it, don't bury it. Let the biology bridge the gap. If you do this twice a year, your soil structure changes visibly, looser, darker, richer. The third truth is that compost becomes powerful only when paired with moisture and cover. Uncovered compost dries out quickly, and dry compost is biologically inactive. Modern gardeners often scatter it across their beds without protecting it, and the sun cooks away both nutrients and microbial life. Ancient farmers understood this instinctively. They covered manure and compost with straw, leaves or soil to keep the fermentation alive. The real method today is the same. Compost must stay moist and shaded if you want its microbial load to multiply. A simple way to apply this is after spreading your compost. Lay a thin mulch layer over it. Leaves, grass clippings, or even a sheet of cardboard works. Check the moisture every few days. If it feels dusty, water lightly. So, this approach actually turns your compost layer into a living mat that, well, feeds soil life from above. Now, the fourth truth is that compost is a catalyst, not the entire meal. You know, a lot of people assume compost alone can sustain a garden indefinitely, but history says otherwise. Even the most fertile ancient soils were created by combining compost with things like biochar, animal manure, green biomass, and of course, consistent mulch. Compost really activates soil biology, but it doesn't replace minerals or long-term carbon. The error is thinking compost is enough, when in reality it's just the spark that lights the system. If you want your compost to work the way it was meant to, pair it with organic matter. After laying compost, add mulch on top. Grow cover crops during off-seasons. Feed the soil slowly, the way ecosystems do. A gardener restoring compacted clay soil might spread compost in spring, let earthworms work it through, and then use pea or bean cover crops to add nitrogen later. This layered approach prevents nutrient imbalances and builds living soil far faster than compost alone. The fifth truth is that the real method treats compost as a continuous process, not a single project. Old farmers didn't make one pile a year and call it done. They constantly added thin layers of material, built small windrows, and harvested only when fully finished. This steady flow method ensures you always have compost ready and you never shock the pile by dumping too much at once. You can adopt this by keeping a small working pile year-round. Just add thin layers of carbon and nitrogen, water when necessary, and turn every few weeks. After about 3 months, you'll have a consistent supply of fully finished compost ready for top-dressing beds, trees, and pathways. If this helped you understand compost the way serious growers and historical farmers did, don't forget to subscribe and share. Farm Logic thrives on viewers who want real, field-tested techniques backed by centuries of agricultural wisdom. Spread this video to someone who needs better soil and join us for more guides that dive deep into survival history, land stewardship, and old-world farming knowledge brought back to life.